Hello mga KaParkland and welcome to Parkland Pinoy Tambayan where we talk about relevant issues, interesting Canadian topics, and Pinoy life in Canada. And for this episode, let's get to know one of the candidates running for City Councilor in the upcoming municipal election here in Yorkton. So please join with me as we understand more about her, our guests, and what are her plans and goals for this coming election. So without further ado, let's go. And if you haven't done it yet and you're new to my channel and you're watching us through Facebook, drop us a like, drop us a follow, share this video so that more viewers can enjoy watching and who knows, maybe they can benefit from the show too. And if you're watching us through YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe the channel, and don't forget to ring the bell so you'll get notified once we post fresh videos for you or once we go live. And joining the discussion for tonight, we have here Miss Stephanie Ortynsky. Good evening, Steph.
Good evening, Jobert. Thank you for having me.
And it's really a pleasure for us to have you here. And an opportunity, for us to, and our viewers to get to know you more and understand what are your plans and goals for this coming election.
Yes, thank you so much. And hello, everyone, all the loyal listeners of this program, as well as the Parkland Filipino community and even beyond throughout Canada and everyone listening. It's great to be here this evening.
All right. Okay. And to start up the discussion for tonight, Steph, can you share to our viewers here a brief history of your time with Yorkton?
Yeah, thank you, Jobert. So I was born in Yorkton, Saskatchewan. I went to French immersion since kindergarten, high school at the Yorkton Regional High School. And then from there, I went to the University of Saskatchewan where I did a commerce degree. I did a master's in public health. And most recently, a PhD in public policy where I looked at budgeting practices both in Canada and in New Zealand. In terms of my time in Yorkton, I've always been drawn back to the city of Yorkton. It's just a great size. The people are warm and friendly, and it's a nice place in terms of the pace of living. So I've really always enjoyed, and I've always wanted to make this my home permanently. So I came back in 21, and I was teaching yoga. I was finishing up my PhD. I was commuting and teaching at the University of Regina in Master's Public Sector Financial Management as well as in Statistics. And I also taught online while living in Yorkton. And then most recently, I went to the University of Toronto where I did a postdoc, so after a PhD in municipal finance. And there I worked with some of the top Canadian experts on municipal finance, looking at different ways to both bring revenues into cities and how to better account for expenditures. So I'm really excited to be back in Yorkton permanently, as well as to serve potentially on City Council. The really exciting opportunities that we have here in Yorkton, and to go forward with those.
Okay. Besides your work experiences, do you have also experiences in public service?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I have worked on federally funded projects as an evaluation consultant. So working to increase the education of primary care doctors of HIV here in Saskatchewan. I've worked on federally funded international projects as a consultant. And with those projects, I have made, the evaluation plans, tracked, collected data, and then reported on how successful those projects are.
Okay. So besides your work experiences and experiences with public service, do you have experience as well in politics, or is this going to be your first try to dive into the wonderful world of politics?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yes, this is my first dive into politics beyond, what I've done at university with student council.
Mm-hmm.
I've also been on the Ukrainian Museum of Canada National Board. I've also been on Upstream, which is a national board as well, as co-chair as well as treasurer on those two organizations. So this is the first time I'm diving into the land of politics. But as I study, politicians and political processes, there's kind of three main categories of people. The politicians, there's the bureaucrats, as well as the public. So I'm looking at where we can find harmony between those three major group of actors and achieve results for the city of Yorkton.
Right. So, what actually interests you to go into politics?
Yeah, I think it's just the range of impact that government can have on people. It was the reason why I've studied public health and I've taught public sector financial management, municipal finance, is because I believe in the power of like collective action, collective funding to help those that need it, but also to encourage development economically, both in Canada, abroad as well. But right now, definitely local government is where it's at, because you can talk to the people that you have an impact on, and see where the difference is and see where funding needs to go.
So, given that, why do you feel you are qualified to represent the public as city councilor?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I'm definitely someone who listens more than I speak. So I think that in itself is, a testament to the type of person I am. I'm very interested in, what's important to people. I also have a very analytical mind, so I'd be really excited to dive into the books inside of the city of Yorkton to see, a bit more behind the numbers that are presented financially. To see where there can be, improvements gained. I'd also like to, have that interaction with people, to learn more and to bring them into the budget process where they can help us, decide on what the main priorities are. Because there's limited funds in local government, but I think we can definitely leverage what Yorkton has for other partnerships with the private sector, with other tiers of government, and even beyond.
Okay, and I'm sure during the 1 month campaign, one month campaign that was allotted, then I'm sure you have done your time doing door knocking and mingling with other people in the city. So what are the issues do you feel that are most pressing or more concerning for the city of Yorkton?
Yeah, so the city of Yorkton has, a range of issues. We're, a mid-sized city in Saskatchewan. I think we need by far more densification in the city, economic growth. Homelessness is an issue that's very visible and has roots for a number of reasons, and that's something that we need to partner with the provincial government. I've heard people want more access to recreation spaces, especially gym facilities, not only to practice in but to host tournaments. People don't want to be driving out of town to go to play on hockey arenas, so that's another one as well. Just even things that make a city attractive for a young family to stay here and to invest. Those are the things that the city needs to be prioritizing, no matter what. That sense of community, safety, culture, these are all things that Yorkton has, but that needs to be showcased further. But yeah, I'm definitely open and all ears to hear feedback as we go. This campaign has been a great way to reconnect back with everyone, and I want it to be a long 4-year conversation with action, of course, and results.
Okay, so given those issues and concerns, if elected as councillor, how would you address those issues?
Yeah, so one, in terms of economic development, we need to make it easier for people that already have invested in the community, for them to increase their investment, whether it is expanding their facility, changing facilities. That's a key issue. We have to make Yorkton attractive in terms of tax incentives, which the city has for residential property. They're half off, and then there's a 5-year tax abatement. So we'll have to kind of evaluate how that policy is done and see if there's anything further that needs to be done to bring investment into the city itself. In terms of other revenue sources, I think to qualify, the city might need to form an economic unit with surrounding rural municipalities to qualify for federal grants. We need to have an ongoing and more productive conversation with the provincial government and our newly elected again, member of Legislative Assembly, to bring the funds here for healthcare and education. Like, those are two key areas that are important for all residents in the city, so need further investment. In terms of homelessness, again, social services is a provincial responsibility, but you see it at the local level. So there has to be something done, and the money has to be there for local government to support people that might be having mental health challenges and addictions and whatnot. So those are some of the things. I would definitely, in terms of recreation spaces that we currently have, let's utilize these assets and make better use of them. So I would have to have conversations with the school boards, get everyone on board to make these things happen.
And I agree with you. Collaboration is important in order to achieve goal with these goals. Eh? So here in Yorkton, and I'm sure it is also a recurring problem also with other towns and cities in the Parkland region, we are experiencing a growing number of cases of homelessness, like you mentioned, drug abuse problems, mental health issues, and even rising numbers of crime. So, question is, if you're elected as councillor, what will be your steps then to help the municipal and provincial government in addressing these issues?
Yeah, it's a complicated issue, and we're seeing it more. The cost of living has increased. People are feeling isolated, even post pandemic. There's a variety of reasons why we're in this situation. You need a multi-prong approach. Like, it's not going to be solved with one particular policy or one particular investment, but to help to connect more with the province, to have the funds to deploy here in Yorkton. It also, safety is a number one priority, and really from a preventative, you want to start on a prevention. So that's usually the less costly, and you can prevent this from happening in the first place. Some ideas, in terms of crime, to prevent that, it could be better collaboration with our CMP. That means just, having more of a police presence, if that's something that could help, with the fire department as well, whatever prevention they recommend. That's one point. We need, full-time spaces for people that are experiencing addiction and homelessness and mental health issues, be it, beds either in the health region or in the health center, or expansion of the current 5 beds that are available at Bruno's Place just at nighttime for people, and having pathways for them to eventually live with their addictions in a way that's helpful in terms of having a job and a place to live. But this is a multi agency investment and coordination that needs to happen, but these are conversations that need to happen, and action needs to be taken with the proper money put towards it.
Right. So in order for our viewers and pretty much the city of Yorkton to understand you more, would you be able to emphasize on what education or experience you have that you think would help qualify you to address these issues?
Yeah, thank you. So one being a master's of public health, so I know, the whole range of spectrum in terms of prevention. I have a good understanding of the healthcare system in terms of, the provincial roles and responsibilities there, and what, funding mechanisms are there. I've taught since 2020 public sector financial management, public policy analysis, statistics for public managers, most recently municipal finance. So as an instructor, I know the latest research in these areas and also how to apply it. So I've been training people that are now working in provincial governments around the country on these topics, and I always get really great feedback, which is great as an educator, because I think it's really it's really rewarding to see what you're teaching is making a difference. Also, I'm working for SUMA, so Saskatchewan Urban Municipalities Association, as a research associate, and that taps us in as a city to a larger network of best practices of urban municipalities, not only in Saskatchewan, but also nationally as well. I just have, a well-connected Canadian public policy, municipal finance network, where I can ask some of the best advice on certain topics, which of course I'd bring to council and would go through the democratic process with other councillors. And we would also lean on the expertise of the current City of Yorkton administration to get things moving. But essentially there's, public safety.
Right.
There's also economic development, and recreation services, which are key priorities for residents in Yorkton, is what I've heard and what I want to take action on.
Right. And it's nice to hear. It's nice to hear also that be able to hear these fresh ideas, new ideas, and I believe this is one thing the city of Yorkton needs to. Eh? Okay, one last question, if you may, Steph. Then, what would you do to improve the transparency to maintain that public trust with the municipal government?
Yeah, great question. And this is something, as someone who's taught, for many years in universities, studied at top institutions, is that people need to know how local government is working and how it's working for them. I'd be more than happy to vote and have more open discussions, less in-camera discussions for city council. I think people need to know the consideration of decisions before they actually happen, and then they come out after the fact. Right. Like, these are things where we need public input and not just the squeakiest wheels, but we need to seek that input. One, very specific way is with a participatory budgeting approach, where people of Yorkton can vote or, provide feedback on certain elements of the budget. And I think this is just a great way to bring people into, these huge financial decisions that they're contributing to, but also that are going to impact them for the next 4 years. So that would be my first order of business, is looking at the budgeting process, the financial reporting, making that transparent and easy to understand and read, regardless of, whether you went just to high school, you went to university. I think this information needs to be published and available for everyone to be able to understand and to ask more of their elected officials.
Right, I agree. Okay, so thank you very much, Stephanie, for joining with us with the discussion and sharing to our viewers your answers on some of the important and pressing questions that concerns our city. And before we wrap up our discussion for tonight, would you like to invite our viewers to come out and vote this November? Yes.
Thank you so much, Jobert. So it's really exciting. We just had our provincial election. If you're interested in voting, the drive-through poll is happening tomorrow. It's happening on Tuesday, November 5th at the City Operations Center, and that's from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. on York Road. Please come check out this new building that the city has invested in for all of us. Next is the advanced poll, which is happening on Thursday, November 7th. That's at the Gloria Hayden Community Center from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then lastly, Election Day is happening Wednesday, November 13th, so after the long weekend, from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Gallagher Center Flexi Hall. To show up and vote, please bring, a proof of ID. Also, if you're new to the city, if you have a lease agreement or something that shows that you've been in Yorkton for 3 months and also lived in the province of Saskatchewan for the past 6 months. But thank you so much, and I hope everyone goes out and vote. We need to increase our voter turnout in Yorkton.
Exactly. So you're telling me, okay, so for the drive-through on the 5th.
Correct.
And also the advanced voting on the 7th. That's going to be Gloria Hayden?
Correct.
Right, Gloria Hayden. And then the voting on the 13th is going to be at the Gallagher, right? So it's going to be voting will open as early as 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, or?
Yep. On the election day, it opens at 9 a.m. till 8 p.m.
Okay. So, do we need to bring our IDs then, like picture IDs then for sure then? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, picture ID, and then maybe, just to have like a lease agreement or a water bill or something that shows that you're
a
address.
resident of Yorkton. Okay.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay, there you have it, mga KaParkland. Miss Stephanie Ortynsky, candidate for City Councilor for the upcoming municipal election here in Yorkton. That is on the 13th of November. Mark your calendar. Go out and vote. It is your right. It is your responsibility. And just what Steph said, so that we'll have a good turnout of voting.
Yes,
right? Yeah,
let's come together and make this the best election for Yorkton.
Exactly. Again, thank you very much, Steph.
Thank you for having me, Jobert.
Okay. And on behalf of my guests here, this is Kuya Jobert. Until next episode, stay safe everyone, and God bless.